Welcome to this video about stress management. My name is Marjolein Burgerhout, and in this video I will ask you some questions as well. So make sure you have a piece of paper and a pen ready. You and your stress system will stay together for the rest of your life. You may have really good reasons to stress out now. Your deadlines, will I get good results? Will I find a job? But in time, you will get new good reasons to stress out. Will I not get fired? Will I get promoted? Your mortgage, your family, your children. So the triggers change over time, but your stress system, always the same. It's helpful to get to know your stress system really well, because although it's very powerful, it's not smart enough to always be functional and helpful. It doesn't distinguish, for example, between a concrete, actual threat that is right in front of you and an imagined abstract threat. You can scare yourself with negative thoughts, with worries, with wild imagination, even while you are completely safe. And there's no way you can fully control your stress system. It will get triggered. But you can learn how to regulate stress and help yourself calm down when a non-functional, so not helpful, stress reaction came up. Modern life is already stressful in itself, so knowing how to regulate stress is not a luxury, but a necessity to stay balanced and healthy. I would like to start with an assignment, a very simple one. Please take your pen and paper, and let's start with focusing on stress symptoms first. Now, think of yourself on a super stressed day, like the worst. Everything is coming together, you're not able to relax that day. And then answer the following questions. What do you feel physically? What do you think? What are your thoughts? How do you feel emotionally? What do you do? So what behavior do you start to show? And how do other people notice that you are stressed? Please pause the video for a moment and take your time to answer these questions. Now, the answers that you wrote down are all symptoms of the threat system, which is your stress system. We'll talk about the 3 systems model again after this. So physically, what do you feel? Probably you wrote down tensed, fast heartbeat, sweaty palms, nervousness in the belly, breathing high in your chest, hyperventilating. Thoughts are probably, I will never make it, I'm going to fail, what if they find out I'm stupid? So you're very self-critical, worried, you have negative expectations. Emotionally, you feel fear, anxiety, but you can also feel angry in this state, upset. And shame and guilt are typical threat emotions. Maybe you feel haunted as well, as if someone's chasing you. In your behavior, you're probably looking for distraction because you feel so uncomfortable, so you're looking for relief. You don't have any focus. Maybe you're doom scrolling on your phone just to distract yourself. Or you're trying to read, but you're not absorbing anything anymore. You're eating a lot, maybe a lot of fat or sugar, or maybe you're not eating at all, which are all stress-related symptoms. Socially, people may notice that you're not really making eye contact, or you are avoiding contact at all. You might give short answers. You're not really interested in interaction. So there's often social withdrawal, or you're over-talking, and you're only talking about yourself and everything that's going on for you. So these are typical social effects of the threat system. When you find yourself in this state, know that you are in threat mode, and your brain is really busy trying to keep you safe. Now, imagine yourself on a super relaxed day, like ultimate chill. You are superbly relaxed. Go there, imagine, and answer the following questions again, but then for the relaxed state. So when you are in the relaxed, soothed state, it's sometimes hard to notice how your body feels because it's so relaxed. It's soft, it's warm, you don't notice any pain or discomfort. But there's nothing wrong, there's nothing painful. Your thoughts are more contemplative. You may daydream, you reflect on what happened, and there's an overall idea of everything is okay, everything is fine. Emotionally, you feel safe, content, the work is done. There's also a level of trust and satisfaction. And maybe you're just hanging out with a friend on the couch or sitting on a bench outside. There's not really a plan for this day. You are in flow, as they say. And people around you probably notice you're in that soothed state because you're calm, you're patient, you listen, and you make eye contact. People feel connected to you. Now, very often it requires a holiday to get into this state. And some people don't even get to that state on a holiday and still want to run around and see everything and do everything. Or it requires a cancelled plan, something unforeseen. But developing the skill to move from your threat system towards your soothe system and prioritizing more soothe in your week is crucial for both your mental and physical health. So our threat system in the 3-system model is the most dominant system. It will take over and interrupt the other systems when a threat is detected. So for short-term survival, our threat system is essential and the boss, you could say. But for long-term survival, we need to spend more time in our soothe system because we don't recover properly. Besides, if you want to lower your stress levels, you will have to apply soothing techniques to make sure your stress level goes down. There are 5 things you need to know about your stress system. Number 1, stress is our biochemical response to our perception of danger. Perception means that it can be a real concrete danger, like a predator or a very fast truck that is heading your way, but also an imagined danger, something you worry about. It could be a memory of something scary that can also trigger your stress system again. Other things that the brain considers dangerous are new situations because the brain cannot predict what will happen and therefore makes you extra alert to see what is required. So for example, if you give a presentation, you probably get nervous for many reasons, but one reason is that the moment of presenting is not fully predictable or controllable. So there's this level of unknown unpredictability that stresses us out. Number 2, we are social animals. We lived and survived living in groups. We need other people to survive. And nowadays it's not encounters with crocodiles that we worry about, but we mainly have social fears. We fear criticism, rejection, judgment, isolation, exclusion. There's fear of missing out and the loss of position. Imagine you get stressed because you're almost late. It's not the clock that you worry about, it's the social response and consequences that you might face when you arrive late that stress you out. And when we don't perform well, it's not the actual results that affect you, but the social consequences of them. So we need to understand our fears from that social design that we have. Number 3, your stress system is a response system. It doesn't think. And therefore, it isn't always accurate. It switches on the moment it detects an alarming signal. It could be a truck approaching you at high speed, a face that seems to disapprove, an email from your boss, or painful memory, a game, the news. And your stress system has the mantra, better safe than sorry. This means actual fear and stress can arise even though you are absolutely safe. Number 4, when there is a stressor, a trigger, concrete or abstract, your energy is sent to your muscles, preparing you for action, to move, to act, to respond to the situation. This energy will be temporarily saved from other vital processes in your body, like your digestion, the growth of hair and nails, your immune system, plus higher brain functions, as I mentioned before, self-reflection, creative thinking, critical thinking, empathy, problem solving. Now, depending on the situation and previous responses, you will go either in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode. And this consumes a lot of energy. So be aware, being in threat costs you a lot of energy. And last, there's an important difference between acute and chronic stress. So acute stress is actually what our stress system is designed for. For example, you need to give a presentation, as I mentioned before, and it brings you a lot of nerves. It's really scary and exciting at the same time. Now, once you give the presentation, you might get another adrenaline peak, and the stress is really high. Once the presentation is over, your stress system can go back to normal and recover. So healthy stress actually has a peak, fast peak experience, and then a slow recovery. And with that type of stress, no harm is done. This is healthy stress. Chronic stress is the big problem. So chronic stress with chronic stress, it seems less obvious that you are triggered, and also the need for rest and recovery is less obvious, but it builds up, because what you need to know about cortisol is that it accumulates the moment it is not broken down properly. This means that slowly but steady, you're building up your cortisol level, and at a certain point, you are so high in your levels that you can't fully relax anymore. Your baseline goes up. So it is with chronic stress where you can develop severe long-term negative effects both on physical and mental health. You're exhausting your body because, like I said, the threat mode is very exhausting. You will have less focus, less memory. All these higher brain functions are slowly reduced. And the worst part is that you can't relax properly anymore and therefore cannot recover properly anymore. So the problem just builds and builds and builds. For the next part, I would like to draw with you the window of tolerance. So if you could please get a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be as big as mine, but a fair size of paper. And draw this window with me so that you have it for the rest of your life. So draw with me 2 lines. There we go. This is your window of tolerance, which is called the vital zone. And in this zone, you wake up in the morning, you activate, you rest, you get active, you rest a bit more, and you just have a really nice balance of drive and soothe, basically. So action and rest. Which is called the basic rest activity cycle. It's a natural biorhythm that we have to activate and to rest. And within this window, you feel kind of great, and there is a perception of safety. Everything is all right, taking care of business. And in this window, you feel connected to yourself, you feel your body, you feel connected to yourself, to others, and to the world. This vital zone is often made green. You are absolutely balanced and great here. Now, if you are accumulating too much stress, or there is a stressful event in the day, you're moving out of your window of tolerance into what is called the risk zone. Here is an increase of insecurity, an increase of intensity, fear, complexity, or simply things being too much. So being overwhelmed, not being able to process all the information will also bring you here in the risk zone. This is where your threat system is activated. That's why they call it the mobilization system. It's activating. And in that state, there is a perception of danger, of threat. So in the risk zone, your survival mode is switched on. So you go into fight, flight, or freeze mode. There is an increase of tension, social withdrawal, and like mentioned before, in this state, your other vital and higher brain functions are temporarily paused. So, in a way, that's not a problem, and you will eventually naturally go down, back into your window. So your body will naturally try to find its way back to the vital zone, the window of tolerance. Now, if you hang out here in this risk zone a lot, and you know, in the chronic stress, as I explained, you don't properly relax, you stay up there. What happens is your brain becomes more sensitive for signals of unsafety. And there's an increase of what is called the what's wrong attention. So your alarm system gets even more active, and that's pretty tricky because then there's a fair chance that you're going to stay up here. And when that happens, your window becomes more narrow and you more quickly enter the risk zone. So that is something we absolutely want to avoid. In the case of acute stress, so something happened and then that event is over, your body will naturally try to find its way back to the vital zone. Also, your body is happiest here. And that's an important point. How do you recover? So after a stressful event, how can you relax again? How can you restore? This is a really crucial point. Now, if you've been up here for way too long and that doesn't fit in my drawing, there's a chance that you will go down here, which is the danger zone. It's called the danger zone. And this is an immobilization system. So where in this window you were still riding on adrenaline and feeling quite hyper and active, if you've done that for too long, your body will take you into a very different state, which is called the immobilization system. And once you are here, you experience numbness, you feel deeply exhausted, you have blackouts, it's difficult to move. And that's a security system that your body applies if there's been too much of this. So this is often the red zone. And as you can see, this resembles a traffic light. So green is great, risk is pay attention, danger, we don't want that. Don't do that. So the two most important points in this drawing are over here. When do you actually go out of your window of tolerance into the risk zone? What makes you go there? How did that build up so that you are more aware of your triggers and what, pushed you there? And this one, how do you recover? Yeah, these boundary points. How do you recover and bring your stress levels back down again so that you can enter your vital zone? Now, apart from dangers and threats, our modern lifestyle is stressful in itself. We live like animals in a zoo. This is not what we are designed for. And I just want to walk you through 5 modern enemies of rest, so you can pay more attention to how this plays a role in your day, and then you understand also what actually stresses you out so much as well. So the first one is information overload, and that's a serious one. Because of the constant stream of information that we get from our devices, there's literally no break in the day. We take breaks with information. We now consider listening to a podcast a way to relax, watching a series or 3 a way to relax. And these are all drive activities. So you're not really resting. The effect is that we have a lack of sleep, lack of rest. We feel overwhelmed. We can't focus anymore. We feel restless. And there's also a reduced connection to one's own thoughts and feelings, because we're constantly reading and hearing about other people's thoughts, other people's feelings, that we hardly know where we stand ourselves. It was in 1996 that psychologists warned about the risks of email. Email was just introduced as a part of the work life. Still, there were hardly any cell phones, smartphones didn't exist, only email. And the psychologists and scientists were worried because now people could go home after work and check an email at their computer that was not in their pocket. So already then there was a worry, a concern about an information overload. Imagine that, what the loads of information that we get today. Second modern enemy of rest is we sit way too much, and we sit mostly indoors. We are designed for constant, soft movement. We are built to constantly have our bodies pump blood through our veins and have all our juices flow. So sitting down is extremely unhealthy. Also, very often people think that after sitting for 8 hours of work, they compensate the 8 hours of sitting with an hour of gym or running through the park. That doesn't take away the negative impact of those hours of sitting. So it's really the sitting that is the problem. There's a lack of movement, a lack of circulation, and also our biorhythm is disturbed because we don't spend enough time outside in daylight. Then, in our time, being busy, being ambitious, being stressed even, is considered a virtue. So we are culturally constantly encouraged to be in either threat or drive mode. A lot of action, a lot of things to do. How are you doing? Busy is often the expected answer. And doing nothing is considered lazy and a waste of time. It's useless. And that's exactly what soothe activities are. And the effect of this is that we neglect our self-care. We neglect our connection to other people, caring for others. We don't spend enough time in self-reflection, or spend time on leisure, just doing fun stuff, things to relax. Fourth is the current cultural frame of individualism. It makes us feel very responsible for way too many things. We are social animals. We are designed to live in groups and share responsibility. So a lot of people get overworked these days because there's just way too much responsibility on one person. We don't feel supported by our community and can feel more anxious and lonely because of that. And fifth, there's way too much fast and easy food available. And these fast foods, they suit our busy day. So by this we consume way too much sugar, caffeine, processed food. We don't take the time to slowly cook a healthy meal. And by doing this, we give an extra stress to the body because it's not getting proper hydration and nutrition. It's good to be aware of the fact that these aspects of our day also impact our stress levels. This all doesn't concern any instant big emergency, but these are all little factors that do impact your nervous system, impact your brain, impact the level of stress in your body. So let's look into how you can become a soothe professional. If you want to make yourself future-proof and regulate your stress levels more, you need to become a soothing pro. Now, to get into your soothing systems, a few things are required. First of all, you need to prioritize your rest and keep a part of the day or the week free, available for yourself and your rest. Then it's very important to keep in mind no input. Watching a movie, listening a podcast, this is all information for your brain to process. And we need a break also from input. The only accepted input is calming music, nature sounds, or the voice of a friend that you're with, or your own singing voice. That is also possible. Also, whatever you're doing in your soothing activity, do not get ambitious about it. Ambition does not belong to the soothe system. Ambition belongs to the drive system. As you will see, there's a list of things that I will show you. In all these things, you can become ambitious. Get really good at meditation, or get really good at drawing or dancing. The moment there's that drive, you know you're in drive mode. So this is really about having no higher goal, no higher purpose, other than to enjoy and relax, okay? If you get the signal of your brain that it's boring, you're probably doing the right thing, okay? Boring is good. We need to do something slow, and it might be boring. I advise to try different soothing activities and discover what you enjoy the most and what also works for you best. There's really a landscape to discover of options, but it starts with understanding that it's a priority, that it's important. And then some relax best alone, other people relax better together. So find out what works for you. Now I listed the soothing techniques in 3 different categories. And the first one I called nature and alone. So these are things you can do by yourself, at home or outside. So to wander around in nature is extremely soothing for your nervous system. I say it again, without a podcast or music in your ears. Listen to the sounds of the wind, of the leaves. That's the good stuff for your brain. Birds. Humming, I wrote down, is to make the humming sound, is an instant soothing activity that you can do. Lay on the grass, stare at the sky. There's really not much happening here. My personal favorite is to lay on the bed in the shape of a starfish, so with your hands and your legs wide. I often do this somewhere in the middle of the day where I feel I'm pushing it too much, being too active for too long. And I can take a 10-minute break. I put an alarm so I'm sure I don't fall asleep, and I just park myself on the bed in this position. This posture is a signal of safety. You don't lay on your bed like this when you're under threat or when there's actual danger happening. So you give your brain the signal, we are absolutely safe, doing absolutely nothing, and then your brain can relax. What we've been doing throughout this course, meditation and journaling, are soothing activities. And there is also a landscape of breathing exercises that you can discover. Find one that you find pleasant, that you can easily repeat in the morning or in the evening before sleeping, for example. Then there's a list of things you could do that involve touch and potentially someone else. A good conversation with someone can help you relax really well. A long, firm hug, touch. We're very, very much suited by touch. And you can also touch yourself. And that sounds a bit funky, I know. But I'm talking just holding yourself, tapping yourself, massaging your hands, little gestures, little things that will help you relax more. So when you cuddle, when you hold hands, there's oxytocin that's being released, the cuddle hormone it's called, and it's very soothing, it's very relaxing for us. And there's a list of things you could do creatively or that involve movement. When it involves movement, it's always slow movement, and I repeat, without ambition. So it shouldn't be about perfection, it's just about giving your body that ability to move as it wants to. Also, all the creative things, don't get too ambitious. It shouldn't be about the result, it shouldn't be about the goal, but just enjoying the process, touching things, creating things, building things is a very soothing activity for us. I combined all three in the last slide that you could save or print or anything, just in case you're out of options. Because as you can see, there are loads of things you can do. And I've received the question so often by students, how do I relax without a screen? People, we have to rediscover how to get ourselves into soothe mode. So make sure you find your recipe and help yourself regulate your stress better.